Today we're going to meet the globe's top boys, the front line for defending absurdities online. We're going to get to see some of their strengths, their weaknesses, their style, and then we're going to see who is the globe's top boy online. Also, there'll be an award, a filmmaking award as well for 2020. First up, we've got Joss Lees. Joss is a semi-professional cricket umpire, a stargazing fantasist, a specialist in debunking straw man maps and models that no one stands by. And he also likes to inspect fruit. Many know him as the man from Del Monte, as he has this strange obsession for rocking up at fruit yards and vineyards and inspecting fruit randomly. Whatever rocks your boat, Joss. So let's have a look at a typical bit of work from Joss as we get a real feel for one of the globe's top boys. Joss's whole channel is built on stargazing, attacking, straw man maps, and of course citing the ISS, which can't be verified by anyone, as somehow proof as well. So let's have a quick look at Joss's style of propaganda, where he expects people to drop demonstrable reality in favour of looking up at things. Just before we get going anywhere here, right? Would it be interesting perhaps someone just to check this ISS route out there, the common route, yeah? And just see if there's any, on the land masses, any US Air Force bases nearby in the contact areas of the trajectory of the ISS that crosses over the land. That'd be quite an interesting little idea to have a look at, wouldn't it? Because of course, over the vast oceans, who can verify seeing the ISS? You know? Anyway, back with Joss's video. Yes, let's put the supposed ISS route onto a straw man map that no one stands by and claim a result. Rah! Ridiculous. And this is the theme of Joss's whole channel. Either looking up at lights of the sky, ISS, anything but real demonstrable science. And of course, as we're going to see, this is a common theme when we're dealing with people who are defending things that are scientifically impossible. So looking at Joss's skill set, essentially everyone's got these skills we're going to look at and see who comes out on top. At the top boys for the globe, okay? There's 4 characters: relevance, demonstrable science, charisma, and golden katana. And of course there's a section for strengths and then overall, okay? Relevance is how relevant they are online, their presence. Demonstrable science, obviously how much demonstrable science they have on their channel. Charisma, you need a bit of charisma when you're trying to sell bullshit like the globe. So charisma's kind of important. And the golden katana, you probably think, what's the hell's that? That's professionalism, i.e. less cuts in your movies, the better, the smoother it plays, the more professional it is. If you've got no cuts in your movie, then you'd get a golden katana rating of 10. If you've got hundreds of cuts in your movies or your videos, you get a golden katana rating of 1. Of course, a katana is a samurai sword and it cuts very sharply. So you don't want lots of cuts in your movie if you want to keep it nice and professional, particularly when you're trying to sell a lie like the globe. Okay, so Joss, known as the umpire or the man from Del Monte. Relevance 3. This is out of 10, okay? Sorry, Joss. Demonstrable science 0. Charisma 2. Bit difficult to get any charisma from your comments and your videos because you don't really talk, my old mate. So you still did okay there. Golden katana rating 6. Not a bad score. Strengths: loves to inspect fruit and is a well-respected stargazing fantasist. And of course, as I've already mentioned, is a specialist in debunking straw man maps and models that no one stands by. But overall, Joss comes in with an overall total of 11 out of 40, which isn't bad really, considering he's defending something that is scientifically impossible. Next up is Dr. Stuart Clark, an astronomer, doctor and author, and quite a passionate defender of the globe online. Covered Doctor before in a video. If you haven't seen that, link in the description, where I kind of break down the obvious problems with the Doctor's logic. Let's have a quick listen to the Doctor.
I'm Dr. Stuart Clark. I'm an astronomer and I'm the author of The Unknown Universe. It's so clearly obvious that the world isn't flat.
Bless him. He writes a book called The Unknown Universe, and yet proclaims it's so obvious that the world isn't flat, when every single bit of demonstrable science tells us the Earth is a level plane. It's the only scientific truth that everyone, and I mean everyone, can test and verify for themselves. The good Doctor is so confused, bless him. He goes on to cite boats supposedly going over the curve and all sorts of nonsensical rubbish which was slapped senseless back in 2014. If you want to see, like I said, where I address some of the points Dr. Clark made, link in the description. Let's look at Dr. Clark's strengths. Alright, Dr. Clark, the Globe Doctor, relevance 5, quite a well-known established figure. Demonstrable science as a 0. Charisma 2, a bit of a rock and roll professor, hip happening doctor, astronomer. So he kind of gives it a bit of that there to make his bullshit seem a little bit more appealing. Golden Katana 7, yeah, it was a professional video that the Doctor starred in, so some of the professional production will take some of the sort of thumbs up for that, if you like. Strengths: the Doctor is a world, and I mean a world-class storyteller and reality denier. Bless him. Overall score for the good Dr. Clark, 14. Pretty high score. 14 out of 40. He's at the moment in the lead. Next up is Mr. Charisma himself, the Mannequin Man, Simon Dan. If cheap, tacky t-shirts, mainstream adverts, PayPals and Super Chats is your thing, then Dan is your man. If you're after demonstrable science, you might be better off saving a few quid and gonna look elsewhere. I will add this: Dan is a very, very talented Lego engineer, so I will tip me hat to that particular skill of Dan's. So let's have a look what Dan brings to the equation as far as knowledge is concerned. Here we get to see Dan dazzle us with his old school observation of Halley's Comet 10 years after it was visible. Take it away, Dan.
Halley's Comet, for example, has a 75-year orbit of the Sun. I saw it once, in the 90s, and I may not see it ever again.
You won't, Dan. More than likely not. But I need to add, what you saw in the 90s, me old mate, wasn't Halley's Comet. That was around in the 80s. What you saw was a comet known as Hale-Bopp. Plenty of t-shirts, bad information, terrible observations. I don't know, perhaps you had some time travelling device. If that's the case, I'll put my hand up and I'll actually buy a t-shirt off you, me old mate. But as far as demonstrable science is concerned, it's not too clever, just like the rest of your pals. Let's have a look at your score chart anyway, Dan. Where'd you fare with these top boys? Let's have a look at the Mannequin Man's skill set. Relevance 7. He is quite relevant, got quite a big following, as you know, probably the biggest online. So yeah, quite a big total there. Demonstrable science, just like everyone we've met so far, 0. Charisma 1. Yeah, wasn't great, Dan, was it? Golden Katana 0. Blimey. Admittedly, Dan's videos, propaganda pieces, tend to have more cuts in it than old school samurai films. So yeah, the 0 is about right. Strengths: a talented Lego builder and a very good tacky t-shirt salesman. But overall, Dan, that's a pretty bad score of 8. Even though Dan's got the relevance as far as the numbers, the rest of his claim clearly isn't up to scratch. Dear oh dear. Next up is Professor Phil Bell. Phil is quite well known for going flying into the comments section like an out of control windmill. Problem is, again, like all of Phil's mates, he's got no demonstrable science to back him up, so generally he comes unstuck. Phil will quite often cite irrelevant stuff in your video comment section and go on about anything else but valid points which destroy his fantasy world. I quite like Phil, if I'm honest. I do like the fact he's willing to just steam into a comment section and have a good go, even though he's got absolutely zero demonstrable science to back him up. Phil is a whiteboard legend, as we can see, and a very, very passionate speaker online and a defender online of the globe. So where does Phil shape up as far as skill set is concerned? Let's have a look. The pantomime professor, some know him as the plastic professor. I quite like Phil, to be fair. Relevance, 5. Demonstrable science, 0. Charisma, 4. Golden katana, 6. Strengths, passionate, and he's a whiteboard legend. Overall, Phil comes in at quite a handy score of 15 out of 40. And I believe at the moment, Phil is in the lead. So fair play, Phil. That's quite surprising. Next we got Wally, who most know him as Ping Pong, after he murdered a ping pong ball and destroyed his own model as he was trying to give a demonstration of a tower crane on a spinning ball. Ping Pong not only destroyed and murdered a ping pong ball, but actually cheated by using magnets. And even though he'd brutalised the ping pong ball, cheated using magnets, he still ended up highlighting the absurdity of his globe model. So let's have a look.
I thought I'd better go and do a crane on a ball for Adam, because he seems to have this thing for cranes and he won't shut up about them. So here you are.
Problem is, Wal, as you've done your little demonstration there, it would seem the block of your tower crane is in outer space, thus debunking your silly demonstration, your silly globe that you tried to defend, because you cheated by using magnets, and even then, using magnets, all you actually did was destroy your own model and unfortunately murdered a ping pong ball. You do know, Wal, ping pong balls' lives matter, don't ya? In case you don't know, Ping Pong's other great moments in time were he cited a bottle of water as a tower crane. I know, ridiculous as it sounds. Conservation of momentum, Adam, he'll say. We're talking about tower cranes on a spinning ball. I'd accept your conservation of momentum if it had a pendulum on it. It doesn't. It's got a bottle of water that's probably, 6 inches tall. We're talking about tower cranes that could be up to 1,000 feet tall. So conservation of momentum, me old ping pong loving friend, doesn't cut it clearly. And anyone stating so, unless they've got a demo that actually has a pendulum in it, I'm going to block and delete them for time wasting. Let's have a look at Ping Pong's skill set. Relevance, 4. He's got quite a lot of videos out and propaganda. Demonstrable science, 0. Charisma, 3. Golden katana, 6. Not bad with his polish with his videos. Strengths, loves killing ping pong balls and of course destroying the globe. The very thing he's supposedly defending. Like I said originally, it can't be easy defending something that's scientifically impossible. Bless these guys. And the last top boy we're going to meet today is Wolfie, otherwise known as Forrest. Because whenever, and I mean whenever, asked to provide some evidence, some science, or participate in an observation using a plane, Wolfie, Forrest, will run off muttering crap about EQ mounts and flight plans. Wolfie is a very, very, very talented bendy glass photographer, a pathological storyteller, and a part-time pilot where I believe he flies once or twice a year. God, I hate to be sat on the back of a part-time pilot plane where his skill set have diminished over 6 months or so. What a bumpy old ride that would be, no doubt. But what does Forrest bring to the equation as far as science is concerned to back the globe claims? Let's have a look. Now, this is as scientific as the globe gets. You ask for a practical demonstration of a standing body of water displaying convexity upon its surface, and Wolfie or Forrest will cite a spinning fish tank.
Here is an excellent video that I just watched, and I have to thank From Norway for posting the link on my channel. I haven't seen it before, but it very clearly demonstrates that we can have bendy water.
That is why no one takes Forrest seriously. The only demonstrable science he cites is spinning fish tanks. Nothing else to back the claims. This is the problem you get yourself into when you defend something that is scientifically impossible. You have to cite spinning fish tanks as somehow evidence that reality has got it wrong. You gotta love Forrest for putting that on his channel. What a boy! So when we look at Forrest's strengths, relevance, online 3, demonstrable science 0, it should be minus 400 for that spinning fish tank, but we'll leave it at 0. Charisma 3, golden katana 5, not bad with the cuts, bits and pieces. Strengths, as we all know, he's a very, very talented bendy glass photographer, a pathological storyteller, and a spinning fish tank specialist. Wolfie comes in with an overall total of 11. Now, his best buddy is Ping Pong, who I covered just now, who scored 13, I believe. I'm not sure if I said at the end of it. So Ping Pong had 13. So let's see who comes out on top. I think it's Professor Bell. 2 seconds. Let's see who is the top boy for representing the globe online. Wow. Professor Phil even, is the globe's top boy online. Their #1 representative for dealing and defending absurdities. Phil comes in with 15 out of 40. This whiteboard legend is well known for steaming into comment sections like an out of control windmill. He'll give as good as he gets, but when it comes to demonstrable science, Phil has to go into overboard on his whiteboard. Will we get demonstrable science to back it? No. But Phil, I tip my hat to you, young man. You are the #1 top boy for defending the globe online. Respect to you. I actually quite like you. You make me laugh how you steam into these comment sections like some out of control windmill. You're actually alright, unlike some other characters who I won't mention. And it's official, Phil. You, my dear boy, with a total of 15, are the top boy for defending the globe online. Tip my hat to you, sir. And just before we go, a big shout out to Simon Dan, who wins a very special award. Dan has won the 2020 Golden Katana Filmmakers Award for most cuts in any size video, whether it be small video, medium video, or a longer video. Dan will beat you hands down as far as having cuts in his video. Dan will have cuts left, right and centre in his videos, bettering any old school samurai film for cuts. So a rightful winner of the 2020 Golden Katana Award, Simon Dan. But of course the real winner today is Professor Phil Bell for being the globe's top boy online. Massive respect, Phil.